Episode 4? 5. Yeah, I forgot about the game warden we had on with Andrew Wildman James, the internet celebrity, maybe. You kind of, you know?
Yeah.
Your video.
Yeah.
The bear video.
Bear when I got shit on a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that went pretty wild, right?
That went pretty wild. That was a good time.
How? I mean, a lot of people saw that.
Yeah.
What did it get up to?
Last time I checked, it was probably like 1.5 mil.
Views?
Yeah.
Really?
Maybe more now.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Did you ever end up making any money?
I did not. We were gonna do it, and then we decided, you know what? We were just having a good time. We was like, whatever.
You're gonna have to try to replicate it.
I know. Oh. Yeah, maybe someday.
So, a lot of people around know Andrew James, and they know your crazy, wild side, but not a lot of people know you like I know you, and that is when you want to do something and you want it, you want to be professional about something, you go pretty hard in.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing. So anyways, well, we'll start with grew up in Pittston.
Yeah.
Dad is a contractor, right?
Yeah.
Does everything pretty much.
Yeah.
Kind of probably learned from him a little bit.
A little bit here and there. Him and my brother. My brother's going pretty hard into the contracting business too. So. And
you learned that side where, okay, it's game time. No screwing around.
You know, if I want something, you're gonna have it. I'll give you an opportunity, and if you don't make stuff happen, then you're gonna lose it. So.
And I thought it was pretty wild. Some of the jobs you told me, like calling me from Kentucky, you know, Andrew, what the hell are you doing down there? You know,
hauling dogs. I used to do that. That was a good time. I mean, there wasn't really money in it, but I got to explore a lot of the southern states and some of the midwestern states, so it was pretty cool. And a lot of my friends thought that was pretty cool that I got to go and venture off and do this. And hey, I'll be gone for 4 days and straight ahead go through it. I got a friend out in Chicago, and I get to see him, which is cool.
Yeah.
So just different things and different people.
So what's the purpose of you delivering these dogs for people? Why do they want them delivered?
A lot of hound hunters get weirded out because they think you're a PETA person or this and that, or you're gonna breed. So they're very selective who they like to have deliver their hounds. So someone like me, I'm a mutual. Like I do get into the hound hunting industry, but yet I don't own my own, so that it doesn't freak them out so much. Like what are they gonna do with this and that? I just send them down as fast as I can and as professional as I can, drop them off. If I pick them up, I pick some more up. If not, see you later, have a good day.
But what for them, why are they transporting the dogs? Is it breeding? Is it selling?
It could be breeding, it could be selling, it could be they want new like a new stock or something, or it might be a good dog that someone professionally trained that he's the best out of all in the country. So they want to buy that dog and they want him there immediately to see how he's going to do.
So what makes a good dog?
It could be bloodline. It could be just how well they run, how well they hold a bear or a coon or whatever it may be up a tree, how well they could get along with another hound. It's several factors in that. Sometimes they'll get one of the best dogs and he won't get along with some of the other ones, so they just get rid of him because it doesn't work out. Because
they're like not your typical dog. You don't keep them in your house. I mean,
no. Some people do, but most don't,
right?
Because that can kind of deter them away from the hunting more and
makes them soft. Probably
could make them soft. So a lot of people just keep them outside, but you can see the passion and the care and some of the kennels that they build and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a fine line. You don't want to make them too soft, but you also, don't want to abuse them or anything. You need to keep them, ready for game day. Game day,
right. It's always a mixture. In the wintertime, they'll beef them up with beef fat or pork or this or that or whatever, just to keep their body weight up so they don't get too cold. Even though they are heated, they like to keep them up. In the summertime, usually about May they start trying to get them into training season, because training season starts in July. So.
And when they're training them, they're just running. Are they allowed to run bear or whatever they're after out of season?
They are 30. July 1st they can run. Usually, and usually it's about a couple months before the season actually starts that they kill season. So they take the dogs out, they run them. I mean, so a lot of guys are probably trying new things and could be trying new things, seeing how they do, making sure they're keeping up
and
keep them in shape. That's a big thing.
Most of them are tracked on. They have like a GPS system.
Yeah, they use a lot of GPS systems. Yeah, some of the old school don't, but most of them nowadays, I'd say probably 98% of the people use the old school, but once in a while they'll have an old style thing kicking around just in case that GPS isn't on point.
Have you ever been part of a hunt when someone doesn't use the new technology? Like, how would they go about finding their dogs?
Usually they'll use them beeper collars, and they'll pull them out. I've seen some of the old school people pull them out where the GPS did fail, and they'll track them, and sometimes they have to wait a couple days. They'll leave them in the woods. They'll be fine. They'll find their way back to a road or something. They'll pick them up.
Damn.
Yeah.
Because those dogs can run up there money wise.
Right. They could be anywhere from $200 to $10,000, maybe more.
And you can let 5 go at a time.
I think
7?
It's 6.
So you could have $50,000 out.
You could.
They could be leaving $50,000 in the woods.
You could be leaving $50,000 in the woods, and you never know. I mean, they could get into a nasty bear, and a couple swipes from the bear, and boom, there goes your $10,000 dog. I've seen that too. It's unfortunate, it's sad, but at the end of the day, them dogs, you can see, really have pride in chasing that bear or that coon or whatever it may be, because they just love that chase.
All dogs like to have a job.
They do.
And that's their job.
And they really like that.
Yeah.
You can see the passion and just chasing it. At the end of the day, they're just sitting there wagging their tail at you, ready to go. I mean, some of them get ugly if you leave them behind, and I've seen that too before. They want to go with you.
Right.
Because they know when you're loading up.
They know what's going on.
They know what's going on, and they're ready to go.
That's wild. So that's one of the many of the things that you have done. I'll bring it back to basically high school, and when I met you was...
Oh, Jesus. Some of the party days, huh?
You were probably, what? When you met my dad was the police officer at school.
Yes, I did.
And you met him his first year?
Yeah, it was his first year there.
And you were a sophomore, or?
Yeah, I was a sophomore, and I was kind of a wild child, but I loved hunting back then. I was really big, not so much no more, but back then I was really big into it, and I just kept bugging him. Hey, I want to go duck hunting. The first time he ever mentioned it, and so eventually he took me out one evening, and we went out. From there, we just formed a friendship between me and your father, and then you.
Yeah.
After.
And it wasn't just my dad bringing you. He made a deal with you.
He made a deal.
Because you're the type of person that if you don't want to do something, you're not doing it.
Right.
Like you don't have that in you. You can't just sit there through a lecture and just be like, oh,
no, it drives me nuts.
You're gonna start doing whatever you need to do. And so the deal was you stay in school for the week, and he was gonna bring you hunting at the end of the week, which, it's kind of crazy with all the police stuff going on. Like, he never had to offer that to you. He never had. Most people would have just kicked you out of school. You know what I mean? That kid doesn't want to be here. Get him out. And
Julian was great, not even me, myself, but just in general, working with the kids at Gardner High School. He was wonderful as a officer. He cared for all the people that he helped out.
Right.
Even in a bad situation, he'd do what he could to make them in a better situation.
And not write them a summons or a fine that's going to ruin their life.
Right. He'd make them think about it, but he wouldn't actually typically follow through unless he actually had to, but that was very, very rare.
Right. And then brought you out that weekend.
Yeah.
And we always me and my dad always talked about, like, your mom used to drop you off at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Mom, get up. let's go.
Back before I was driving, yeah.
Yeah, and so went out with him, and then it became almost every weekend, every season,
all the
everything.
time.
And that's when we met, and not a lot of people understand that you walking a half a mile or a mile through the woods is a lot harder than most.
Right. No, I struggled.
Especially back then.
Back then, yeah.
Because I don't remember what time it was in your high school, but I just remember there was something serious that happened. I remember there was a rough time, like health-wise.
Yeah.
And ever since that day, it was like, you just seemed like, okay, I don't know when the last day is. I'm going to fucking live this shit up. And, you know, I used to sleep in the basement of my house, and then it would be 2 a.m. and I'd hear you pacing the floor, ready to go hunting. You know, just ready to go.
I'm ready.
And that's and I feel like that's a part of that thing that people don't know about you. It's like nobody knows is tomorrow the day for all of us. You know what I mean? And you're just like, you've been close.
Yeah.
You've been close.
Few times, yeah.
Yeah. So, and you don't take that shit for granted. You're like, why aren't we just doing it tonight? What are we waiting for tomorrow for?
Yeah, let's go.
Right. So I think that's a lot of the things when people see you out and stuff, they only know, oh, that's Andrew. He'll do whatever, you know, whatever. He's the guy that's whatever. But they also don't know that there's a reason why it's full throttle all the time and not many people can keep up.
Just all the time go. Let's do something.
And you're always making something happen. You've never been the guy that just sits there in your apartment and just, oh, well, you know, I'll wait. Oh, no, I'm going to, you know, you're going to find a job tomorrow.
Right.
You don't give a shit what it is.
No. I've done a lot of different things. You know, I tried the contractor thing. It just, it was okay. I've tried critter removal. That was fun for a while. I enjoyed it. I mean, to me, I didn't feel I was making any money at it.
Right.
I used to trim, and I liked that for a while.
Right.
And it was fun, but it just wasn't enough.
Right.
And then one morning, early, probably 12 o'clock in the morning, I got a text from my brother. He said, Andrew, why don't you go try out for PT Show Club? They're offering someone in the restroom as a restroom attendant in a unisex bathroom. I said, you know what? I'll try it. Mm-hmm. He said, put your suit on, look nice, show up. I did that following Thursday. He said, the guy that I work under said, let's try it for a couple weeks. Tried it, worked out great. So I show up, look professional. The managers down there are awesome. The girls are great. The bartender, everybody. So in that month, I think it was like month, maybe 2, that I was there before we had this coronavirus.
Yeah.
And everyone loved and appreciated how I showed up, had a good attitude. Some days were better than others, but I always had a good attitude. The manager was always, thank you. We appreciate you coming. Have a good evening. So it was a we all fed off each other in a positive way. We never tried to have a bad day. We all tried to make sure someone was having a good day, whether it's do this or that or whatever we could to help each other out. So I'm waiting for this to clear up so hopefully I can go back. I miss my girls and miss the rest of the employees and everyone that worked there. It was a good time.
So what do you do day to day there?
Make sure, it could be, make sure that the bathroom's clean. I've been in there several times before work, and it's just paper towels on the floor.
Right.
People urinate everywhere, just animals, and it's just it's absolutely terrible to see at a nice facility.
Yeah.
So I make sure everything's professional and looks good, so people when they come in, they're not just like, I don't want to be in here. I don't want to. And it kind of helps to make sure they wash their hands and they're clean and everything like that, because the girls appreciate that, because nobody wants to be touched or
with
whatever.
Piss hands or shit hands,
Right, on people.
I never really thought about that, like some dude wipes his ass and the next thing you know, he's...
Right, some people don't wash their hands and they prefer hand sanitizer, and that's fine.
Right.
We have that. some need a spritzer or something to make them smell a little better or whatever it may be. You know, you never know. Some people just off the boat, hey, I didn't have time. I wanted to swing by here real quick and clean up or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So they do that. But for the most part, people are pretty clean. They're pretty good.
So unisex, both people?
Yeah.
Men and women?
So the men and women, and the girls come in and appreciate it too.
Yeah.
So I have hair products and face products and whatever the women like, so it makes it more comforting to them as well.
Is there a men's and women's bathroom as well, or?
Nope, it's all just unisex, all the stalls, and there's a couple urinals in there too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's wild.
That's like one of the only places that has that, I'm sure.
It's one of the only places. It's wild.
Is there one bathroom?
Yeah, it's 2 stalls and like 4 or 5 urinals.
Man.
So some days, I mean, you could be in there on a Friday night and there could be 10 people packed in like Saturday. It can be pretty crazy in there sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's good to have somebody in there to make sure they're not wrecking stuff or doing stuff they shouldn't be or this and that. So it's actually a win-win. It's good for me because I want to make sure everybody's doing what they need to and this and that, but it's also good for the club because it makes it so they feel safe and comfortable.
True.
Because there's a lot of women that'll use that as well.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes they don't feel safe to go in there without somebody.
I'm sure.
It's like where I'm in there.
Yeah.
So, but I dress up very professional. I wear a suit and tie and everything.
Do you have a picture of it?
I do somewhere.
You'll have to send it to me.
All right.
So when we put this up, we can put that on there.
Oh, most definitely.
And show people who to look for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They actually over the last couple months they took a smart business move. Instead of trying to say, oh, we're going to invest in this, let's try it. Let's try to get people back to work. They were very smart, and they've been remodeling the whole club.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they've been just putting money back in.
Right, exactly, which is a business move because they've been putting new rug down. They ripped the old one up.
Yeah.
The staging's new. I think some new parts there. I haven't been in yet, so I'm excited to see it. I think they mentioned a little bit on Facebook that they were doing new VIP walls and stuff like that, so I'm kind of excited. And I think some of the girls are excited to be back too because I think we all miss each other.
Do they know when you might be going back? Is it going to be like 6 feet apart in a...
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. But
that yet.
Right.
I'm sure it's going to be something like that maybe. They might just say whatever.
Mask.
I don't think people that go to clubs and bars care to wear the mask. I mean, I think that'd be just too much and be weird.
It'd be so
I mean,
weird.
there could be people, but maybe the bartenders or something. But I think, I think it's going to be something.
So
They said July 1st is when they want to start, but we don't know with our governor. You know, she'll throw one thing and then 2 days before the opening of some certain things, she'll shut everything down.
Yeah, it seems really weird, like kind of like it's going quite a long ways, for everything to open back up, really open back up.
Yeah. I have a friend that's living out in Montana, and he said everything out there's opened up, so.
I know people in Idaho, I think.
Yeah.
Or Utah.
Yeah, just a
and
bunch
Texas,
Right.
Some spots
Florida.
are just wide open, yeah. So, wildest thing that's happened in the bathroom? There must be fights and shit in there all the time.
There's not. I had a guy come in one day. They underpay you. They do this. They do that, and it just kind of wound everybody up. So they don't have. They have corporate patrol, which is basically a bouncer, but they don't call themselves a bouncer because they can't do that.
How come?
So I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I think it's legally or just a professional name. I'm not sure, but I had to go get one of them guys because he was just going on and on and on, and I was like, that's too much.
Right.
I haven't seen anything sexually, but that's
probably they do that in the car.
Yeah, probably. I honestly don't know. I think it's very hard for that though because we do have the corporate patrol at the end of the night. we'll take the girls to the car so they're safe too.
Oh,
so we all take care
smart.
of each other, right?
Yeah. Because you get some weirdos in there.
You get some weirdos, man. I've seen some weird looking people.
They probably there's dudes out of there every night.
I mean, honestly, this is a good example.
Okay.
So, I'm sitting there. It's kind of, I think it was one of the last week, and I had a guy come in. Whatever, use the bathroom. Said, hold out your hands. I'll get you something. No, I'm good. So he turns the water on. Right after he turns the water on, he sneezes everywhere. All over the colognes, all over the sink handles, all over the sink itself, just everywhere. Just like, and wipes his hands on that. It just went everywhere. And then he goes to shut the nozzles off. I just sat there. So at the end of it, he says, I get tips. So he says, here's $1. I was like, I almost said, keep it. I was disgusted. So it's good because, like, that's the disgustingness of stuff that can go on there.
Of course.
So, like, someone like me, I caught that. So I could go around with a hand sanitizer and soap and make sure everything's clean so the next person doesn't have to touch his snot rockets all over the sink handles,
Right,
because that's just that's pure disgusting.
He wouldn't have cleaned it.
No, obviously not. That's why I was in. It's just like stuff like that. It's like, it's really important for me. I mean, several times I've seen paper towels everywhere on the floor.
Right.
Or the blower. It'll blow up the towels because it's one of those metal ones that attach to the wall.
Yeah.
So the blower will kick on and it'll just throw everything up too. So.
Right.
But it's I didn't realize how important of a job it was until a couple weeks in, and I was like, oh, okay, this is a legit, like, this ain't. My parents thought it was kind of a joke the first time I told them. Eric, my brother, was more professional. It's like, no, it's a serious job, and I kind of laughed it off, and then I asked a few of his friends, and he was like, no, that'd be great for you to be there. It's a good atmosphere, the food down there and everything else. It's just a nice city life, but it's definitely, I like it.
You do?
I do.
You think that's what you're doing? That's the thing.
I like it. I always thought I would never ever like Portland. I always hated it when I went down there. I've had doctor appointments down there before, and I just always hated the city. Now it's like my brain for some reason opened up, and it's like, you got the girls, you got the money, you got the food, you got, what else? For 32 years old, what else could you want?
Right.
I mean, yeah, I live in Pittston, so if I wanted to go hunting with my buddies sometime or fishing, I still could do that too as well.
Right. So you make that commute?
Yeah, it's about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
So it's not terrible. I'm usually there. I get there about 7.
At night?
Yeah, I get there at 7, and we close every night at 3 o'clock. Sometimes I get out a little earlier, but by the time all said and done, typically I'm home around 4.
It's got to be a long drive.
It's
home.
It's a long drive home.
Yeah.
I mean, you're exhausted by the end of the day.
Right.
End of the night, I should say, but it's...
So before this, I want to talk about the critter business. How did you think? Did people? Because I know people that were just calling you and say, "Hey, got a skunk," and you're like, "I got it."
That's how it started. I got it. Yeah, raccoon. Yeah, I'll get it. I've done some wild. I went into a building in Gardner one time. The guy had a flying squirrel. I chased that around for a little bit, caught him. He said, so what are you going to do? And I said, no. I opened my hand and showed him it was in my glove, and he screamed. I said, get that out of here. He was freaked out. And I said, he gave me some money and said, see you later. Have a good day.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another time I had Richmond Police Department give me a call.
Yeah.
There's a squirrel in someone's house. I said, yeah, you got to be kidding me. Come on now. It's late. I put my gloves on, went in. There he was, running up the walls and bouncing off the windows and everywhere else. We ended up taking a net, catching him, and I put him in a trap and took him somewhere else.
Yeah.
That was pretty wild. Woodchucks, those I don't like those anymore.
I mean, skunks, all that stuff. I mean, it seemed like you were busy, but you were traveling really far.
I was traveling
for like $40.
For like $40, it just wasn't my cup of tea or worth my time. you know. It really, I mean, I enjoyed it, but it just didn't pan out to what I wanted it to be. Like, I wanted to be busier and make more money, and it just wasn't profitable. Like,
Right.
I don't mind once in a while. I've helped some friends out. I don't have a vehicle as far as to, like, a truck to put skunks in anymore, so I don't do that, and I wouldn't. It's just not, it's not feasible. I mean, I'd have to charge a lot, so it's not. But woodchucks or something like that, I did that last summer. I caught a few of them for someone, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the chase. I enjoyed to outsmart that animal, because some of them are pretty clever.
They don't want to be caught.
They don't want to be caught.
And they're living the life. If they're in a house or around a house, it doesn't get much easier.
No, it doesn't.
Let's talk about you making the news.
I'll let you start with that one. Oh,
in Newport.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Newport, yeah. Okay, yeah. So that's what this is why I don't like woodchucks. So I got a person I know. They called me up. We got some woodchucks up in Newport. Okay, we'll deal with them.
I remember you calling me because you were pissed because you knew you were going to lose money for the drive.
I was gonna lose money. I did lose my ass on it. It was terrible. It was the worst.
Yeah.
So I show up. Yeah. Okay. What do we want to do? Well, we don't want to hurt them. That's the first mistake with woodchucks, is you got to use foot traps. I know people are against it and stuff like that. I get it. Live traps, they work probably 40% of the time.
Yeah.
Just a waste of my time. It really is. I don't like them, because it's just you might catch them, you might not. You might play games for a week. So, and you got to check your traps every day or every other day or whatever.
So Newport every day.
Yeah.
Hour there, hour back.
At least an hour one way. So it was up on Moosehead Trail?
Yeah.
Up in that, that's like an hour.
Yep.
So I said, okay, we won't foot trap them. We'll try the live traps. Obviously they didn't work. I rolled my eyes and said, this is a waste of time. No, we're not doing foot traps. Okay, can I shoot them? Yeah. So I shot one or two. This isn't working out, Andrew. They're killing our plants out back. Okay. Well, let's try a smoke bomb. You game for it? Yeah, we're game. The next thing I know, smoke's rolling up through the barn.
Not good smoke, right?
No, not good smoke. I heard embers. I see them coming up through the barn.
Grab the hose.
Crackling. So they grabbed the hose and tried putting it out. I said, this isn't going to work.
That barn was old too, right?
That barn was old and dry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You did him a favor. For real.
That barn
Yeah.
went up quick.
Yeah.
But I was very smart about it, because instead of messing with a hose, I thought... I called the fire department. They were there about 3 minutes. They saved part of the house, but water damage didn't help them. But I did what I could. I mean, I wasn't going to sit there with a hose, garden hose. That's not going to put a fire out. I've seen them. I've seen fires go up and smoke very quickly. We had a house fire.
Yeah.
Propane tank went up the side of the house, smoked everything, water, everything, just ruined our house.
Yeah.
So I knew, and used in my mind, I said, you need a fire department. I called them, they were there, and they put it out, but it ruined their barn, unfortunately. And I did feel bad, because I was just trying to do them a favor and help them out and get rid of their woodchuck problems.
Right. Well, you probably got rid of the woodchuck.
No. They
stayed?
They saw them the next day, some of them. So I did feel bad, because I was good friends with them.
Yeah.
And I don't have any hard feelings towards them. I mean, I was trimming for them too, so I was just trying to do them a favor.
Right.
And help them out. And that's why to this day I don't deal with woodchucks.
Well, that's a good...
I hate them. I hate them with a passion.
You got a vendetta for life now?
I have an vengeance on them. I just don't care for them at all.
Damn. So what's that process like? Like, did you hang out? Did you head home?
No, I had to stay there.
Give a statement.
Give a statement to the.
Did you talk to the news?
No, I didn't. He did. They did come up to me and say, "Hey, you want to be on the news and talk about this?" I said, "No,
No way.
Don't mention my name at all." Unfortunately, my truck and license plate was on one of the headlines.
What was your license plate at the time?
I don't know. It
Wild
was just
Man?
it was just a random numbers.
Yeah.
I had Slam Pig on it, but it was I got rid of that and I just had some bunch of random numbers.
I got you.
And so I talked to the fire marshal and I said, honestly, man, it was an accident. He figured that was what it was. It wasn't like I meant to do any harm or this and that. I was just trying to help him with the woodchuck. He asked him about their plants. I said I had nothing to do with it. I said I don't know. They just wanted me to come up, deal with the woodchucks, and that's what I tried to do.
Right.
So to this day, I don't really bother with woodchucks. They're really a pain.
Well, I guess.
So.
Probably not smoke bombs either, huh? No. I just got those at the local hardware store down the road. What? Really?
Yeah.
Smoke bombs?
Yeah, they sold them over the counter like nothing.
What do you use them for normally?
Smoke out critters.
Really?
Yeah.
They sell them at the.
Yeah, they sell
maybe
them
in Newport, not around here. Right?
I don't know. Maybe right over the counter. They're just like a flare, pretty much.
Do you light them?
Yeah.
With a lighter.
You light them with a lighter, yeah.
And you just launch them where you want them to be. Hopefully not in a dry pile of leaves.
They don't launch. They just sit there and kind of smoke.
No, well,
like
you threw it.
No, I stuck it under the barn under a hole. There's a big hole under there, so I put it down in there.
Big enough.
God.
It really sucked.
Yeah, I bet it did really suck. And then now you're at this point. I'm sure you're out of the critter getter business.
Yeah. After that, I kind of gave it up. The game once had a talk, and they were like, "Yeah, we gotta kind of suspend this for a little bit." And I said, "Okay, whatever." I tried getting it back, and I've talked to the wardens, and they were like, "Yeah, you gotta go through a program or whatever, like, because we're doing a new system now." And I was like, "Meh, at this point, I'm all good."
Because you were licensed. What's the license?
It's a license. It's more like a program,
right?
Thing. But I was like, I'm good. It's just not. There's no profit,
right?
Unless you have a legit, like, you're set up. You got lettered and this and that and the insurance and all this and everything else. It's just.
Then you have to charge so much.
Then you have to charge so much, and people are like, well, they don't, most of them around here don't want to pay.
No.
They don't want to pay $300-400 what you need to make on a service to do that.
Right.
So it's almost a waste of my time to even think about it.
Until their dog gets sprayed 7 times.
Right. Until their dog gets sprayed 7 times, they got to take it to the vet, or they get a porcupine.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you should have just called me for the $500 the first time, and I would have dealt with it, and it would have been over with.
Right.
Instead of spending $300 to have it to the vet to get the smell out and this and that and whatever else you needed to do.
Yeah, we had like a dog. We had like $2,500 into it just with porcupines.
Yeah.
Because just as soon as it found one, it never stopped.
And it's like $500 a whack, ain't it?
Oh no! One time it was like $1,800
to get them out.
To get the quills out, yeah.
Ooh.
It was like.
Which one was that?
180 something quills, sig.
Ooh.
Yeah. But it all depends on how hard they get into it. And it was after hours, so it was like 9 at night, blah, blah, blah.
The dog screaming, getting ugly.
No, it didn't even care. It didn't care. It didn't seem to hurt him a whole lot, but they had to, sedate him.
Because you can't just pull him out. He's going to bite you.
Probably, but you're never going to get them out.
Right.
And then if they get in their chest, they can work into their lung and shit.
Yeah, I've had a dog get into him before, rolled in the damn thing.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he didn't get him in the face, but he had a few on his chest or whatever. And so it's just like, porcupines are a nightmare.
So did anyone ever call you for anything else? Any other kind of wild animal?
I've had people ask, but it's just like, it's nothing, no hard feelings. It's not worth my time.
No, back then, like
oh yeah, I had
bats or anything like that.
No bats.
Bears.
Nope. I wouldn't be able to do those.
Right.
I've dealt with beavers during the trapping season before and helped people out with that. I helped a guy last year, and I ended up taking out like 12.
Haven't you had some close calls trapping? Getting yourself into some like dangerous situations? Like,
I have.
Yeah.
I have several times. Trapping, people don't realize, it's one of the most dangerous things you can do, because you don't know how thick the ice is under the snow and this and that. And I've fallen
With waders on.
With waders on, without them on, half dozen times at least.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be 2 feet of water, or
Right.
it could be 8 feet. You don't know how much water's underneath your ice. I've walked across shell ice and fallen right up to my chest before. It's kind of creepy.
Oh, I bet it is.
You know, you could just slide underneath the ice itself. I haven't done that yet, but
Yeah.
I try to be pretty safe about it. And
Right.
check the ice and this and that. I mean, I've you know, sometimes you get some bobcat sets across the ice because it might be a nice spot to set up.
Right.
So you'll go do that, and I've had that before. I've had 3 inches of rain come down and you completely open that ice up, and you still got to go check your traps. You got to figure a way to get around, and it could not be safe. It might be. You don't know.
Right. Because
So-
you have to check them daily,
Yeah, you have to check traps once a day.
and you might have how many can you put out?
As many as I want.
Really?
There's no real limit, but you got to check them every day. So that's, you know, do you want to spend an hour? Do you want to spend 6? You know, what do you want to do?
Do you have to tell people where they tell the warden how many you have out or anything?
No, you don't have to say how many you have. All you got to do is have them tagged.
No kidding.
You got to have
Just like a tree stand.
basically labeled. Yeah, they don't have to be visible labels, but they have to be on the trap somewhere, like a metal, usually a little copper tag, or metal. It could be whatever you need, but it's got to be. If the warden pulls your trap, he's got to see some kind of. I've had people steal my traps before and get caught over it, and thankfully I had my trap tags on it. Sometimes you'll forget, you know, you think you had it on and it's not. But
Why would they steal them? Because they don't want them on their property.
because they don't like trapping. I had a guy that didn't like trapping before, and he begged me to. The wardens take trapping seriously, especially when people steal stuff. It's just like stealing candy bar from the store.
Yeah.
So when they catch you, they don't. And when the state takes over that, you're getting what they're gonna serve you.
Right.
That's how it works. And he was not happy about it, but you got to do what you got to do. It's like I can't have my stuff stolen. It's not a joke. Come see me, and we can work this out.
Right.
But when you come and take my stuff and throw it in the bushes and think it's a joke because you don't like beaver trapping or something, then there's an issue there.
Have you ever caught anything in a trap you didn't want to?
I have. Unfortunately, I caught a dog last year.
Oh.
I caught a dog, yeah, and so it wasn't hurt. His paw, it was fine. He limped around just like you smash your finger with a hammer.
Right.
He wasn't in there more than 5-10 minutes. So I went to reach down to take the trap off because I touched him with a stick. Did you see his temperament?
Yeah.
And when I went to reach down and I touched that trap, I had a nice thick coat on. It was like a duck hunting coat. And he swung around with his mouth and he sunk his canines into the side of my arm.
Yeah.
And I had to have stitches, and it was just a mess. I got him out of the trap, thankfully. I had my uncle help me, but it was not a good time at all.
Yeah, that got pretty infected, didn't it?
It was starting to, yeah. It was all swollen, and it was not a good time. It took me probably, I think, 2 to 3 months to actually fully heal and feel good because it was just
Antibiotics and all that.
antibiotics. You had to have stitches. I had to have it clean. It was just a mess. It was not
Right.
and it sucked. Like, I felt bad for the dog.
Was it just a dog that ran off?
Yeah, he ran off. I don't know where he went, but once I got him out, he said, "See you later."
Because you're obviously not putting these traps in people's backyards.
No, not at all.
So
I'm putting them out in the woods on people's property that I have written permission for.
Right. Like down on our land with the coyotes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like your land, I have written permission. You know, this trap's there. So someone's stray dog, which there's leash laws, thankfully imply,
Yeah.
stating they can't just run at large. So
Right.
it's like, it kind of saves me where I have a signature to be on your property.
Right.
That's why they do that, because it saves the trapper.
And it's kind of like 1 in a million for it to step in there.
Right. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, you know, you gotta deal with it accordingly.
Do you put like a kind of a bait down?
Usually use meat in a hole, maybe a little scent around it.
So that's why the dog wanted it.
Right, just like a dog. You know, you got rotten meat hanging around. What's he gonna do? Either A, eat it, or
Yeah.
B, roll in it.
Yeah, totally.
So usually when they roll in it, that's when they get caught or something, or go
Right.
to smell it.
And some of these animals, there's really no other way to get them, right?
Most canines are very, very difficult to trap with a live trap.
Well, just like beavers and stuff, like
beavers usually you can use some footholds, but usually all kill traps in the state of Maine are required to be set underwater.
So what's the difference?
Kill trap, it's body style, which the animal swims through it, and there's jaws that close on the animal, and it kills it within a minute at most.
Right, and then the other one, it just grabs his foot?
It grabs him by the foot and it'll hold him there.
Is it like the wire style thing? Is that the foot trap?
The wire style is more a kill, and then you got the ones that have the jaws that close, and that's more to catch them by the foot. Usually ones on land, but you still have to have the ones on land under dirt.
And obviously,
or at or below ground level.
Obviously, the bigger the trap, the more unlikely something's going to step in it, right? Like you wouldn't have like a coyote kill trap, right?
No, those all kill traps have to be under the water, so usually
nobody steps in them.
Nobody typically steps in them. No.
Right.
They're there just to mess with them.
Right.
If they're gonna see it.
So, is it recommended when you set a trap to like put a sign up on the trail for people or something?
No.
No.
I mean, you could, but I don't, because then you have them people that don't like trapping that'll mess with your stuff.
True. And
I've had people set my traps up before.
Wait, just with a stick?
Yeah, with a stick, anything.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's ignorant.
Yeah, it sure is.
I mean, I spend a lot of time and money doing that.
A lot of time, yeah. A lot of time. And a lot of research.
And a lot of research, finding out the land, getting landowner permission. And there's no money really in trapping as far as for the fur. You know, I trap it just to help population control and to have some garments or whatever, just for personal use or whatever it is. But
right, because you were telling me a while back that you get a beaver, you skin it, and you sent it somewhere or dealed with some sort of broker.
Yeah.
And you end up making like what, $40?
$5 maybe, $10, something off a beaver.
$10 off of what? 5 hours of work?
2.
To skin it down and do all that shit?
Skin it down, stretch it out, take the meat and flesh off it.
So $5 an hour you're making?
Yeah.
If you're like, but that doesn't even count time putting in traps.
No, nothing. So it's like, it's really not, it's more of just a hobby.
Right.
It's like anything else.
Right. Just catching those ones that you can, you know, whether they're bigger or
small,
or you can make something.
Right. You can make a hat. You can make gloves.
Right.
You know, something for your feet. You know,
it used to probably be worth more.
It used to, yeah.
People could make a living at it.
It used to be, yeah, probably 20, 25 years ago.
So certain things are obviously worth more money.
Yeah.
Like
otters are pretty prized for people to catch. Bobcat are pretty cool to catch. I haven't caught one of those yet, but I'd like to. I know there's a few around. Most people want the coyotes caught, fox caught.
Just because they're a nuisance.
Yeah. I had a friend, Josh, help me last year catch a few coyotes. That was cool.
Yeah.
I ended up catching off another buddy's land, a couple fox. Those were pretty cool. He never knew he had 2 or 3 running around.
Right.
Caught a couple coons.
We talked to the game warden, Ethan, last week, and he said there's a ton of bear around here right now.
I'm not surprised.
Right.
They're just moving in, and they haven't really been killed, but I'm sure they're around, especially in the springtime.
Yeah.
Like it's summer now, but in the spring, a lot of times, like when people like to feed the birds.
Yeah.
And suet. Well, when you have them sunflower seeds, there's a lot of oil.
Yeah.
And it's fat.
Right.
So they're trying to make up that fat, and that suet's all fat. So they're trying to get into that, knead it, and
it's easy, you know.
And it's
there.
easy. I get a friend that I know down in Vermont that she's had a bear come into her mudroom, like literally in her house, and start becoming a nuisance. That's a little scary right there.
See that?
That's just a mean.
A guy I know in the Farmington area.
Yeah.
He ended up calling us because he didn't want to hunt them, but he wanted them killed because the fall before last, he walked into his mudroom. Well, his wife did, and there was a bear eating the dog food.
Yeah, there's a lot of fat in that too, so
and he ran out and shot the bear.
Yeah.
It was 320 pounds.
That's a respectable bear.
That's a respectable bear. And in Farmington area, you never really heard about that. You had to go up to buy, the Forks.
Right.
Jackman.
There's a few around here, but nothing.
A guy shot one in West Gardner last summer. It was getting into his, he had a bee hive.
Yeah, they like honey and the larvae.
Yeah.
The bees and the larvae, there's a lot of fat and protein in too.
So almost like when you see them eating, looking for grubs.
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
Woods and shit.
They'll tear old rotten logs apart to get into the grubs and eat them too. They eat anything they can.
Mm-hmm. And you spent a lot of time with bear and hunting bear and all that stuff up there, and learned a lot about. I'm trying to get Clyde and Tiffany to come on to talk about their business because it's pretty respectable business, and they do a really good job guiding up in the Forks, and they kind of do everything.
Yeah.
So they do rafting and all that shit too, right?
Yeah.
So you spend a lot of time up there with them.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job about letting you know they care and trying to treat, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to hunt all day? Do you want
to go spend some time in Greenville?
Right.
Rockwood? So they kind of they cater a little more.
Like there was a guy up from Virginia one time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've been to Greenville. I'm like, no, I'm all set. I and normally a lot of people that hunt bear don't hunt in the morning. So this guy's sitting around, renting a cabin off from him. He's like, let me go show you Moosehead Lake. Not many guide services would do that kind of shit.
They don't. No, they just want the money and that's it. Have a good day.
Right.
We'll set you out at 3:00 and that's that.
Yeah.
Maybe cook you lunch or maybe a dinner.
Right.
But most don't. They kind of go above and beyond, and that's very respectable of them to do that.
And their prices are
reasonable.
As reasonable as it gets. Especially once you add in all the extra things. You know what I mean? They're the type of people that would just say, hey, go ahead, grab the four-wheeler, go for a ride if you want. They don't care.
No. They might take you trail riding.
Right.
Some in the wintertime, they have a service where they allow you to rent their camp out, and you can rent some snowmobiles down the road.
Yeah.
Go snowmobiling.
Yeah.
So they did that a few times last year.
Yeah, they're all in, especially when fall comes around. You've helped them bait and set sites and all that stuff. So you've probably seen it kind of grow.
Yes, I have over the last few years, very much.
You've known them how long? Ever since you were probably a kid?
No, probably a little out of high school. I'd say probably 14, 15 years.
Yeah, and did they have that going then? Probably not.
No, we were just kind of screwing off up to his camp when he first had it, the original camp.
Yeah.
And then they bought the place over there, and then they really, really, really took off. So.
Yeah.
I've been on a few hunts. I've trapped a bear before. I've seen Tiffany trap a bear before. That was wild, seeing a bear in a trap. And in the state of Maine, they don't allow footholds. It's only cable restraint, so there's no paw damage. It doesn't break their legs. It doesn't cut their foot off.
It just holds them there.
It just holds them there. Obviously, they're not happy and having a good time. When Tiffany trapped her bear, when we went back to check the cameras out, he'd been in there, I think, 7-8 hours, something like that. And he was almost ready to get out. We got lucky. And when we looked in, there was another bear that came in and started eating off the bait site.
No kidding. So what do you mean he was ready to get out?
He almost broke the cable.
Really?
They're strong. Yeah, they're strong.
What was it attached to?
They attached the cable to a tree, good-sized tree.
So do you tie it around?
Yeah,
and
you
then
kind of wrap it around. And
so it almost had cut through the tree?
No, at the wrist, it almost broke the cable just from twisting around and stuff. So
if they like loosen that cable, can they pull out maybe?
They could if they break the strands, and that's what he did. He was breaking the strands, but he still didn't have any paw damage. He was just breaking the strands from strength.
That's pretty crazy.
He tore that place all up.
Was it a big one?
Yeah, I think that was 290.
Yeah, breaking a cable that you probably couldn't break with the truck.
I think you'd do more damage to your truck. I mean, you might be able to snap the cable eventually, but I think you'd do some damage to your truck too.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I've had opportunities where they've been in where we go to bait the site or check the site, and they've been there 2 minutes before.
Right.
The site, or pushed them off the site.
Yeah, or
Walk
come in
in.
2 minutes after. You know, they know. That's what a lot of people don't really understand about bear hunting, I think, is you're not just going to walk through the woods and walk up onto a bear and kill it.
You could not. You never know.
But
Bear are like people. You never know how they're going to be or their temperament or nothing. Sometimes they'll hear you a half mile away coming through and they'll say, see you later.
yeah,
Other times they may
check it out.
check you out and see what you're up to.
Yeah, but the population needs to be controlled, and
Yes.
I don't think you could do that. Like in Vermont, where we go shoot, there's a bow shoot there, Total Archery Challenge. We go shoot that, and they're not allowed to hunt bear, and they're everywhere. Like they're on the golf course during the day, and to me, it just is like you're asking for problems if you don't take care of that. Once they start moving into a neighborhood, they're gonna mess with shit, and your trash is gonna become their food. And
I have a friend that I know that I used to run with, and he guides down in Vermont,
yeah,
or has a guide service, and he comes up here at least. But you're right. And not only is it good population control, you could you can make stuff mounts of bear rugs and this and that, but they taste delicious. At the end of the day, they really do taste delicious. I've eaten pretty much all parts.
right.
And not only have I, from sausage to, I've seen people make bacon.
Yeah.
I've seen steaks are pretty good. I mean, I've taken the bear fat and turned it into lard and cooked with it.
Right.
And that's just as good too.
Right. And a lot of movies make them out to be some, loving, almost dog-like animal.
Right.
And they don't understand that, the males are out there eating cubs and
I've
doing
done
stuff
some
like
research, and I've known a little bit for a while, but the black bear is one of the most dangerous bears, because when they're coming after you, it's because they want to kill you. They're
Right.
not in it for games. They don't play the games. They're pissed and they're ready to do something.
that. Right.
They're not here to be a dog or nothing like that. Most bears usually run off, but they're just like I think polar bears are the same way, but they're there to do some damage to you. They're not in it. They don't like to typically.
Yeah. And people need to accept the fact that if we're going to keep building neighborhoods and we're going to keep building homes, we're going to push back their habitat, and it's not safe for them to be around. Like,
It's not safe for us, and it's
do you
not
like
safe
your
for them.
dog? Do you like your dog? Because if you like your dog, you need to control that population, because that is an easy meal for a bear.
A bear's favorite meal, one of them in the springtime, is fawns. They'll take them down.
Moose fawns too, yeah.
Moose fawns, yeah.
Yep.
They love them.
And you think your dog's any different? You tie that thing out on a leash, and
Done.
and it's like either one or the other. But I know a lot of states that they hire like a government official to go in there with silenced guns and kill them. It's like, why wouldn't you make the money? They don't understand. Okay, so say we want to book a hunt with Clyde at Moxie Gore, and you pay him. So say it's $2,000. You pay Clyde $2,000. You go up there. You're eating all week. You need to buy your licenses and all that shit. You eat local restaurants usually when everything's back to normal, and you go hunt, and say you kill a bear and you're proud of it and you want to get it mounted, and now that taxidermist is making $700-800, and then you're paying the butcher.
You're helping the state.
That's $5,000 rather than us paying somebody from the government with tax dollars to go kill it.
And a lot of people think $2,000's a lot of money, but you got to realize, so you got fuel, you got to go out and bait them bear sites. Sometimes every day, sometimes every other, sometimes 2 times a week. Okay, so let's say you, in a week, on one site, we'll pick out one site. He's got 20-something.
At least
20-something sites. So you start with the fee from the wood harvesters, because they rent them out.
Right.
He rents a section out, nobody else can go in there because he's paying big money.
Right.
So he's going to pay $175 a site.
Right.
That's just a site rental fee.
Right.
Through the logging company.
That's just to get in.
That's just to get in for that one site.
Right.
Not only that, you got to find someone that's going to give up that site too.
Right.
So there's one. So we're at almost, let's say 200. We'll break it even.
200.
Fuel. Let's say you're going to spend 150 in fuel. Probably. Let's just say that. Just a rough estimate on that one. Then you got to pay for the bait. Each barrel you're going to pay at least
$100.
Around 100. Let's say we'll be fair and let's say he pays 80.
Yep.
Maybe cheaper, but not much. Okay,
Maybe.
so 80. Well, if he wipes that barrel out in 2 days, 3 days, then what?
And you're baiting 30 days before opening day.
And you're baiting 30 days opening day. So that bear's feeding.
Yep.
Then you got to go find some grease or some fish or something like that. Track that down. You can either mess with it yourself or pay somebody to go help you collect it. That's another mess.
Yeah.
He's up in the Forks.
Wear and tear on your vehicle.
Insurance. I've seen him smash, probably, and break so much stuff out their vehicles. It's not even funny. It makes you sick.
Yeah.
How much?
Well, yeah.
Tires. Whoop! We hit shale today. Looks like there goes a tire.
400.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Up, we hit another one. There goes another tire.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are we at it now?
Yeah.
And this ain't even before the season necessarily.
Right.
So $2,000's really not that bad.
Yeah. And they just think, yeah, he's just sitting me in his tree stand, whatever.
Up, you gotta have tree stands. You gotta have them built.
And
you gotta put them up. You gotta put cameras up. Then you got thieves. People steal the cameras. We've had that before.
Right.
You gotta buy chips. Them aren't cheap.
And then they were running into an issue last year or the year before with they weren't supposed to be cutting in there, and now they're cutting in there, and now it's a waste of money.
There goes my profit, my time that we started to do it, and they weren't going to be cutting.
Because you can't hunt that. Like, bears aren't going to come around that site with guys running forestry equipment all the time.
You can't sit a guy in a tree stand with someone running a chainsaw next to him. You might have a bear come in, you might not.
Oh, but he's going to be pissed if he doesn't see one.
He's going to be pissed if he don't see one because, oh shit, you set me up with a guy cutting trees next to it. We had a problem with someone in the woods, having a little luau or whatever, you know what I mean?
Really?
They were living in the woods, and they were riding their four-wheelers. We heard him. Clyde's father heard the four-wheelers zipping up and down every night. We were like, what are you talking about? One night we heard them. It was like, we figured out who they were. It's like, what the hell? Yeah. We got big money on the line here to have people hunting. And we had big bear coming in too, and then they disappeared. And
then you want so badly because usually people are there, I believe, like 5 days ish.
Yeah, 5 to 6.
You want so badly for them to be successful, and it's hunting. You can't guarantee 100%, and they try so hard. They're like, because it's one of those things. It's almost like, hey, you go sit a new site, the bear comes into the site you were at. Almost.
You've had that. I've seen that.
Yeah, all the time. I've
seen that. I had a friend that did that one time. He sat all week. He goes home. Next day, someone sits in it. 400-pound plus bear comes into the site. Kid shoots it.
So what's average? Is 250 average about 200?
I'm gonna say
200?
200's an average good sized bear.
Anything over 3 is big. I mean,
anything over 3 is you better shoot it or you're gonna take your chance of not getting one at all.
And they're very, very smart.
They're smart. They sit,
they know
look in. They could sit there and look and watch you.
They
you might
know,
not see them, but they know you're there.
They know those donuts aren't supposed to be in the woods.
Some of them do, yeah.
They do, especially the older ones. They know, and
some of them come in. They could be 30 days before the season. Big bear, 400 pounds coming in every day, daylight, like a light switch. Boom, just like that. Day before the season, bye. Yep. Pieces out, or he doesn't come in until after dark.
And then you some seasons you fight with the natural feed because last year the berries there was a ton of them.
When you get a bumper crop of berries, you're fighting that because the bears are smart enough they're always gonna go to the natural feed over the donuts.
Right.
It could be the nuts one year. It could be the blueberries one year. It could be the raspberries.
It could be everything.
It could be everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. And then up there where they are, you deal with other guys trying to pull bear to other sites.
You could be fighting with a guy next door. Like usually it's not that way.
Right.
Could be. You could run it. We had a guy. We were running a bear. It happened 2 times in a row. Run a bear off our sites.
Mm-hmm.
come across another guy. You run your bear off our territory or something. No, we got proof right here. It's from ours. You got to fight with them.
Right.
They're all pissed because they're trying to guide and they're trying to shoot a big bear, and then you end up shooting it. You know.
Well, that's got to be tough because I mean, if a bear's running, I mean, they got to be able to cover what a day? How many miles a day?
Just fast enough to outrun the dogs.
So, what does one of those dogs run, you think? Miles per hour?
Miles, I don't
15?
know. No, probably 7 or 8. Somewhere around there. Maybe a little more, but 7 or 8.
So they could be 30 miles from the bait.
We've chased bear all day long before. 8-hour days, and sometimes we kill them, sometimes we don't.
Right.
I mean, there's another thing, okay? So you just got the baiting down. Now we get the dogs.
Right.
We'll talk about that more. So with the dogs, like I said earlier, you spend anywhere from $200 to $10,000 on a dog, right?
Right.
Well, you run him all day long. The bear's irritated. Boom, there goes your dog. The bear just killed it. I've seen it.
Right.
I've seen people shoot, miss. One swipe of the paw, literally break every rib and leg in that dog. We ended up having to put him down. There's nothing we can do.
Right.
Well, there goes your loss there.
Yep.
After you put all the bait, your time, this and that, training, you gotta, sometimes you don't have time to train, to send someone else to train them, keep them in shape. Sometimes people ship them down south. I'll send them down for the summer to be trained, just to keep them in shape, because it's cheaper to pay $500 for someone than you do it yourself for 3 months.
Right. That makes sense.
Just to keep them dogs in shape, fed, and everything else. So you get that, and then you could run that bear all day long. You might not catch him. Sometimes they slip you.
Right.
You could catch, and the nice thing about dogs, people don't like it, but the nice thing about dogs when you run them on bear is you can be selective a little bit more. So we just run a big old sow up a tree. There's our cub next door. Okay, I guess we'll pull the dogs off and we'll go try to run something else.
Right.
Because you don't know. You might see a 300-pound bear on that site, and it could end up being a cub. They could have switched the path.
Right.
They caught another bear in the crosshairs, and they're going to go run that one.
Right.
Or they might split off.
Right.
So you can be a little more selective, which is cool, too. As far as that, but it's and then you got to feed the dogs and take care of them and this and that. So the bear industry brings a lot of money to the state. We're the only state in the United States. We're the only state in the United States that allows us to hunt over bait, to run dogs, and to trap them.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of out-of-staters like to come up because of that. Most states don't allow you to run dogs. Florida does not allow you to run dogs.
Right.
I think you can in Georgia.
What's the argument against it?
What?
Just because it's hard on the dog?
Yeah, PETA people, this and that. You
Right.
never know, whatever their issue is.
Right, because...
They think it's cruel.
Yeah.
New Jersey just opened up, I think, last year for the first time I think it was New Jersey.
Yeah.
That allowed them to kill a couple bear, and they closed their season in 2 days because everybody failed tags.
Wow. They just shut it down.
Yeah.
The season.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, we filled that quota, that's it.
So it's, I believe it's 4 weeks of bait, then you can run dogs?
You get 4 weeks of bait.
Yeah.
And then you get 6 weeks with dogs. And then you can trap from September 1st or 2nd, depending whatever that Sunday. You get to start on a Sunday. Trapping allows you to start on Sunday.
But it's after the season, right?
Nope, during the season. You get to trap all the way till the 30th or 31st of October.
Okay.
Typically, whatever it is, somewhere around there. It fluctuates. Don't quote me on that.
Right.
And then natural is pretty much from August 1st to end of August till whenever.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I booked I the type of person I am is I've heard mixed things about running dogs with bear and all that stuff, so I called Clyde up and I'm like, hey, look, I just want to go for a day and see what it's all about. I just want to see what this shit's all about. So
it's very interesting.
In my mind, I think they're going to go to a site, find a bear that's been there within the last couple hours, let the dogs go, and in an hour we'll have a dead bear.
You know something? I've seen that, but I've also seen it take 8 hours too. My brother, we spent 8 hours to kill his bear. His bear was 375 pounds, and we just fought it, and we were like, we gotta end this because the dogs are getting tired. We can only have 6 dogs, so we have to keep rotating. Down south, you can run 20 dogs on a bear,
right?
Have him treat and sometimes an hour or so. But then up here, it's like you just gotta keep them rotating. That's why people have a lot of dogs, because you can only put 6, so you gotta. Let me see you run a track for 3 hours. You're going to be tired, right? So you're going to have to pull him.
Right.
And put something out. And sometimes you got to catch that bear coming across. You have to throw in some more dogs and pull them other 2 out.
When they cross the road, you got to get your
dogs
dogs
back.
back.
You got to grab your 2 and throw 2 more in to make sure they're good and happy. And because sometimes they're smoked.
Yeah,
They won't stop running.
No.
Sometimes they will, but most of them won't. They want to just keep going and catch that.
So
it's like a game, like a football game. You're trying to catch the football.
Yeah, so when we went, we found that they let the dogs go.
Yeah.
And by the way the dogs barked, they could tell me whether it was on a bear or not. He said once they start really going crazy, they really start howling and they really start going crazy, Clyde and Tiffany knew that was on a bear, and they could tell how close the bear was to the dogs by how wound up they were getting.
Mm-hmm.
And they had I don't remember their names, but the 2 they're basically gold dogs, the ones that they relied on to find, it's basically their go-tos were out there.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew if those dogs were doing circles and stuff that they were going to find.
There was a bear up a tree typically.
Yeah, or nearby.
They got him on the ground.
Right. So we got up there at about 8 o'clock in the morning. We didn't finish the day till 1 in the morning, and we didn't get shit. And that's one thing I'd like to tell people is I probably put on at least 7 miles straight up. I mean, we were going straight up, straight down. What had happened is the dogs had gotten a bear up onto the top of a mountain.
Yeah.
And every time the bear heard the truck come down the road, it went to the other side of the mountain.
Sometimes they'll go in a hole.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll go up a tree, come down it, see you later, peace out, and the dogs are still thinking he's up there. They'll throw him off.
But what people also don't understand is once the dogs have found the bear, you still have to hunt the bear, because if the bear wins you coming in,
sees you, bye.
Right.
He don't care what the dogs are doing. He'll say see you later and bounce.
Right. And
I've seen him up a tree before and come right down the tree and peace out.
Right. And they say once dogs have been on a bear, that bear knows what to do more. So if you get a big bear,
they're smart.
Yeah, if you get a big bear, they're gonna know kind of.
Sometimes they'll just sit there on their ass and stop fighting the dogs.
Yeah.
They'll get in a corner. They'll just start wrecking dogs.
Right.
They're not. Not a lot of them are smart enough to want to try to hurt them, but there are a good chunk of them that will.
Yeah, it was not like a guaranteed thing like some people that have never done it.
It's timing like anything else, whether you're with dogs or not.
If anything, it's harder because they're on edge because of the dog.
And another thing people don't realize is you got to be in shape.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be in shape, because when there's a bear up a tree, you don't have time to play games and this and that. You need to start getting into them woods, because you could be 600 yards in. Well, you're going to be dragging that bear 600 yards out when you kill him if you do. And bear are like a giant bowl of Jello. They're one of the worst things to drag out of the woods.
Yeah.
Because unless you have a jet sled, usually people don't bring one in. But unless you have something you just can't grab them by, you can muckle them by the arms, legs, but it's hard. It's Jello, like you said. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
They roll.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't huge. I don't remember what the mountain they kept saying that we were climbing was. They said it a bunch of times. It's pretty well known. The Appalachian Trail goes up it right there and by the forks.
Yeah.
And so we climbed up it. Bear ran to the other side. They decided that it'd be quicker to go to the truck and back around and then back up, and we did it 4 times. And it's not like it's a huge mountain, but 1,100 feet, and it was just straight up.
But people don't realize that mountain you might have to go on the other side of a lake to get around to.
Right. Right, and that's what was happening. We couldn't find. We thought, oh yeah, we'll just find a road. No,
And it
there's
comes
no
to
road.
a dead end.
Yeah,
Someone's property or this or that. You
Yeah.
got to watch out for that too, because you can't just go across someone's property and shoot it. It could be Indian reservations. It could be this. It could be that.
Right.
You gotta. It's not as easy as people may perceive it as.
No.
Some days you get easy. Some days you get the bear. Some days you don't. You could get them in an hour. It could be 8 hours. You could get nothing.
And when you another thing is when you have hunters up, no matter what, tomorrow you have to bring them, even if you get in at 3. You know, they need to go hunt tomorrow because that's why they paid.
They paid it, right.
Right.
You're exhausted. I mean, you're just, walking down a mountain. You could sprain an ankle or something. Throw your shoulder out. Clyde did that a few years ago from just killing so many bears, like just dragging him out. It just ruined his shoulder. He was just, you could tell. It's a lot.
I see him at the end of summer, and he's fine. Then I see him at the end of bear season, and he's lost like 40 pounds.
And we're done. We had our fun. It's over. It's just like, ooh. I killed a bear one time, and we played games and games and games. We thought that the dogs were just screwing around or whatever.
Yeah.
We ended up going up on the top of a mountain. It was like 1.5 miles one way. And we get up to the top of the mountain, and it's snowing and sleeting and everything else. And it was nice down below. And we get up there, and the bear's sitting in the hole. We're trying to poke him out. Finally, he comes out, and I give him one. Drop him right there, and he slips back down into the hole. Because if he's running away from you, that's not a good shot.
Right.
But I got him in the lungs, dropped him. We had to finesse him out of the hole after he's dead, because like you said, they're a bowl of jelly.
Right. And it's just you guys?
And it was 3 of me, Clyde, and another guy.
Yeah.
And we finally get him out, and then we had to drag him down over the bank. That was a mess.
Another 1.5 miles back.
That bear was 240 pounds. I mean, that's a good bear.
So you had to drag the bear back and then also bring the dogs with you.
And bring the dogs, and then they see a moose, and they want to play games. So you got to call them back to, because you can't do that. So.
And they don't listen like a normal dog.
They don't always listen like a normal dog. So that's the challenges of having them.
Right.
You don't know what you're gonna come across.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a moose there. He was mad too. She wasn't too happy. So it's just like you never know what you're gonna run into for a situation. You could run a bear up a tree and say, what are these dogs doing over here? And they could be running another bear.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you this, but last year I baited sites for the first time by myself ever. I just want to see if I could do it. And we had a nice bear coming in, and I ended up hitting it and running off, and I lost the blood trail. So
You got a lot of fat, so
I was texting Clyde, back and forth, and he's like, dude, you could have just come get a dog. And I was like, I know how much these things cost. I'm not just gonna say, hey. So he's like, come get the dog. So I get him. I get the dog. He's like, what are you gonna do? I was like, I'll throw it in the back of my truck. He's like, you don't want to be throwing these things on your leather seats, because they're nails and all that shit. So I throw him in the back, and I get him, and he goes, he's a big dog. He's strong. You have to keep him on a leash because it's not season yet for running dogs. So, and he goes, if he gets let loose, he's fucking gone. And I'm out $10,000. And I'm like, oh my God. So I have this leash wrapped around my arm, right? And one thing I didn't think of is like, he said, you gotta let him go, because if you hold him back, he's gonna not get interested. He's gonna lose interest. He needs to stay on the trail. He needs to stay hot. So I'm like running right behind the dog, and then we get into a swamp, and he's going under a tree, and
You're going over.
Yeah, and so it was like I remember I tracked it on my Under Armour app, and we did in 25 minutes we did 6 miles or 5 miles or something like that, where I was like dragging and puking. You know what I mean? And so what had happened is, the bear had gone into the swamp, circled around. I think it was looking for a place to die, right? Yeah. And then it goes over on the other side, which I don't have permission to hunt or be on. And I think the dog just got wrapped up in that circle and didn't find the path off. Well, the neighbor had ended up killing it. The neighbor had shot it. And, I knew a guy up there, and he had told me, he was at the tagging station, and he goes, dude, this guy came in today. Because I had told him about what had happened, and I had it on video, and the shot was just everything was great. So he goes, Yeah, a bear came in with a 2-inch hole right through it from a bow, you know, and the guy had shot the bear he had hit it in the chest and then in the head. And I said, well, tell the guy all I want is a picture of where I hit it, because I want to know in my mind, you know, the bear went a little further than I would have liked. So I wanted to just know, how did I mess up, you know. And the guy wouldn't send a picture because he thought I was going to try to take it. And I'm like, I'm just glad the thing's not suffering in the woods. And, you know, I just wanted to see, and I just wanted to know, you know, how I did.
Mm-hmm.
But that dog was just like, okay, we're on the trail. This is what we're doing, you know. Go time. And we were going through the thickest of thick. And me thinking every time, this dog's going to come nose to nose with the bear at any second. What the fuck am I going to do?
Or I'm going to get hit in the face with a tree.
I don't give a shit about that. I'm thinking about a semi-well-hit bear still alive, cooped up in a swamp somewhere, and I'm just going to come around the corner, and then Clyde's dog is going to get clocked by this bear, or what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Yeah, I have a handgun on me, but how quick does shit happen in the woods? Clyde told me a story about a bear charging him.
He said he had to shoot it. Yeah, he was a couple inches away from him.
Right, and I think he was with Tiffany and maybe with another person.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what happened. Maybe you do.
They were chasing him, and they bait him up. It went to charge because the bear wants to get away. That's all he wants to do.
Right, and
they're not having a good time.
And he was coming right at him, and he shot it in the head.
Yeah, he shot it in the head. Unfortunately, it was a buck bear.
Right.
And he would have made buck, but unfortunately, it wrecked his skull, so he couldn't have it scored properly. But
and he said when that bear finally died, it was at his feet.
Yeah, it was at his feet. That's crazy, huh?
Imagine what that thing could or would have done.
I've had bear turn on me before, not very often, but I had a guy graze it out of a tree.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I kept yelling, guys, because he turned around.
The bear?
He wasn't chasing me, but he was starting to walk towards me. And you don't know what they're going to do. I had a dog on one side, me on the other. You know, there's a tree. He's coming around that tree. You know, what do you do?
How far was he?
Probably 20 feet.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was 30 feet maybe, but he was close, and he was just, you could tell he was pissed.
He closed that distance like that if he wanted to.
Then Clyde started putting a couple rounds in him. He was a guide, so he can do that with the client.
Right.
And he started just popping rounds, and he was scrapping. The bear was on his back scrapping, he was pissed. You know? So I've seen some of that before. I've also seen little ones come out of a tree, and I've tapped him a little bit and watched him go up the tree again. That's pretty cool.
A cub?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't too happy. We pulled the dogs off, and I backed away, and he'd come down the tree. But there was a mother. We put up a cub, and they were chasing the mother somewhere.
Yeah.
So we pulled off because we didn't want to. We figured it was raining. It wasn't a good day.
Right.
Figured training, whatever.
Yep.
It was a hit or miss because there was a nice bear coming in, and then there was a mother with 2 cubs.
Right.
You never know.
Right.
You don't know the situation. You can't just it's like I said earlier. They could cross a path to something else.
Right. Yeah. You never.
You're not there on third person mode or whatever it is, and knowing what's going to happen. You're just going by your GPS.
I wonder if can you hook like some sort of camera to the dog and see the bear?
Yes, they do have mounts.
GoPro?
Yeah, they do.
But you go through a swamp, your GoPro's gone.
Yeah, it could be wet. It could be gone. You don't know.
Yeah, there's no way.
They hit trees and stumps and this and that, and they're going all over the place like it's.
That dog didn't give a fuck about anything.
Bouncing, so you don't know, right?
That dog, when I was running behind it, did not give a shit.
He wants that bear.
You look at a bunch of trees that look like some origami shapes that have been blown over and stacked up, and he's just going right through it.
Where are you gonna go? Right over the top of it?
It's just where, I've
done that before. I've been, up waist deep up in a beaver swamp to get my bear.
Yeah.
The one that shit on me, I wasn't gonna shoot it because it was like 800 yards in the woods. And they said, get him out of the tree. Sometimes we'll tap him, just have him come down out of the tree. And sometimes we'll rerun them.
They'll come down if you tap the tree?
Yeah, they'll come down because they don't like the feeling on the vibration on their feet. Well, she ended up shitting on me. And so what we did was we said, well, she gets a couple hundred yards from the road the next time we tree her, then I'll harvest it. I made an agreement with them.
Yeah.
And they ran her across the road, and she went into a beaver swamp. It was just a mess.
Yeah.
There was no other way around it. We were just soaked. We were like, yep, we're all in. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we went up. We see her up a cedar tree, and I said, all right, I'll just harvest it, whatever. And I ended up harvesting it, and she ended up being 12 years old, I think.
Really?
12 yeah, it was like 12 or 15.
How big?
She was probably 200, somewhere around there. Good sized bear, but she was starting to
Decline.
She was declining, and she had a good hide on her. I made all the use I could, saved the skull. I ate her. The meat was good.
Do you guys get most of the bears tested age-wise?
It's up to the biologist, but in the state, it's mandatory that you send a tooth in.
No, I know that, but can you just say, hey, I'd like info on the bareback?
I'm not sure.
How did you figure that information out?
It was on the website.
Oh, so your name and stuff?
Yeah, my name and my information. You can type it into the website or look it up. Sometimes they'll post it, and then you look into that, and it'll tell you how the age and what it was and this and that and when they enter all the information out, which is cool.
I wonder how big that bear was, like what the prime years are, like 6 to 9 probably.
Yeah, I wonder if she made 300, 400. Sometimes they just don't get big.
Well, that's just crazy in that area up there, how hard it's hunted.
Sometimes
that bear
they're long.
Can make it.
Sometimes they're short and fat, just like people.
Right.
Sometimes they're just a skinny build. Sometimes they're tall.
Yeah.
We've seen some really tall, lengthy bears with some long arms and legs.
Right.
So
it's kind of crazy that the spots that are the most hunted have the biggest ones. Some of these places up north where they don't get hunted, like that's not where you see the state records coming from. There was a state record, I believe, taken at a new vineyard. That's not. Most people think
that's not a common area that you'd think. When I think of bear hunting, I'm going to think of, maybe a rustic.
Right.
But I'm going to think more of Jackman.
Yeah.
The Forks.
Yeah, up
Greenville.
in Millinocket area.
Rockwood, Millinocket, right.
Yeah, like the thick Maine woods.
Maybe Rangeley a little bit.
Yeah.
But, it's a certain...
What's the biggest one you've seen up there? Over 400?
Yes.
Did you help drag it out?
I did not. Not mess. My buddy Mike Weston.
Yep.
Got that one.
Up there at their camp?
Nope, he got his up in the thing. Up in our camp, I think the biggest was close to 4.
Yeah.
Something like that. It was big.
That's huge.
His father got last year. He got the Grand Slam. He got his turkey.
Who did?
Clyde Senior.
Really?
He got his turkey. He got his deer. He got a bear and a moose. He got the moose and the bear in the same day. They shot the moose, and then they went after it, and they went for the gold, and they ended up scoring on a bear.
Really?
Yeah.
They just decided to go bear hunting after that?
Right after, they said, screw it, let's go. Let's go time.
Did they go with the dogs?
Yeah.
What? Same day?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
two big animals, too. That's crazy.
I'm guessing Clyde was like guiding the moose hunt for him?
Yeah, I helped him out. Yeah, there was quite a few of them up there.
So they must have gotten the moose early.
Yeah, I think they got in by 11-ish.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then got him out of the woods and then had enough time to go back with the bear.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So what?
Do you know anybody? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you want to switch subjects? Go to moose?
Sure.
All right. You know anybody this year that got one permit? I've been putting in for a few years. I've never got one. My father got one in '88.
Lindsay's uncle got one.
Yeah. You going?
If he wants me to, if he needs it. I have a lot going on in October, but I would gladly go. But they have a camp up in like near Chesuncook area, and they got a dude up there that is. I mean, he baits bear and is very successful. He knows the area super well, so I'm guessing they'll be okay. But I might just be on standby to help get it out. That's.
Give me a quick call. I'll be there in an hour.
Well, my
too.
dad's camp's probably an hour and a half from there up in Rockwood.
Okay.
So maybe we'll go up and hang out,
Just to be on standby, just in case for a couple of days.
Plus,
You can fish.
Plus he's gonna his kid's a sub permittee.
Yeah.
And he's gonna try to let him
Shoot it.
Yeah, and it'll be cool to experience that with them. A lot of people don't know what that whole thing's like. Hauling an animal out of the woods sucks, but when you're done, it's like it's pretty cool. It's a thing that if you go hunting and you're successful with a person, you remember that experience for the rest of your life.
My father told me one time, he doesn't hunt much more, but he said, it's all fun and games till you shoot the animal.
Oh, yeah.
And after you shoot the animal, it's all work.
Right. It is
and
all
that's
work.
why he doesn't do it. He's 72 and he's like, I'm good.
Right.
Like, I've been trying for the last couple of years to get him a deer. Hopefully he'll shoot one in the field now that we own it. We have a good chunk of land, so hopefully he'll get to harvest one. I'd like to see him shoot one. I've shot a few, so it's nice to, because he used to do a lot of deer hunting before I was born.
Right.
So I want to see him get into it. I used to go a lot back in high school. I shot one and he got to witness that, but it's more of, he's all set. I think it's just too much work and he'd rather do other things.
Yeah, some people, it's one of those things, if you don't keep up with, you kind of lose interest anyways, because it is so much work.
Right.
You don't just go sit and shoot
It's
something.
like trapping. Some people are like, that's too much work. It's a waste of my time.
Right. I knew a guy last year. I talked to an old man at Fuller's that was tagging a doe. It's probably 120 pounds.
Yeah.
And I go, I don't want to be an asshole, but I have to ask you, how old are you? He goes, son, I'm 85 years old. I shot this deer this morning. I dragged it out by myself and I put it in my truck myself. And I said, holy shit, that's impressive.
Yeah,
that
very.
is. And I go, so what do you? What's the? I said, what's the key? What's the secret? Because I know guys, that are my age that wouldn't be able to do that. He goes, well, I retired and I was getting bored. So what I do is I buy a cord of cut wood and I split a cord of wood a day by hand, and it keeps me young. And I just said, what the frig do you do with it after? You know what I mean? Well, I just sell it for what I have into it, just to keep myself in shape.
So I guess you should start splitting some wood, stacking it for fun.
When I have the time, you know what I mean? When it comes to be that day where I'm bored enough to feel like,
Right.
I need to do something like that. But with everything going on, Lindsay will tell you, freaking August 1st hits, I'm gone to December.
Hunting.
Yeah, it's just like, what are we doing? Because a lot of people don't understand, that's all my kids eat. When they eat meat, they won't eat any other shit. You know what I mean? They'll go to Red Robin and eat a hamburger and be like, this isn't meat. And I'm like, well, you're kind of right. We don't know what it is, but
it's something.
They ask for deer meat or bear meat or whatever, and one bear. Say you harvest a 250-pound bear, how much meat do you think you really bring home?
Maybe 100.
Right.
125.
And say, how hard is it to eat a pound of meat in one day? It's nothing.
Nothing. Nothing when you have, there's 5 of you.
Right. So, you say 3 pounds is going to last you X amount of time, not a whole lot of time.
Right.
And so it's like, that's how we get our meat. So it's, some years it's quick, you get one and you're done. You can be kind of done.
I remember when I first started hunting bear and killing them and eating them, I'd try to have you, and you were like, this is gross. Now it's like, you're like, yeah, this
bear
is
meat?
good. Yeah.
No, I like it. I've got really fortunate. I got invited to go hunt bear for the first time with this guy up in right above the Moosehead area. His name's Dick Rogers. His son is a sheriff, I believe, or state police.
Yeah.
And so we got invited to go up with the guy that owns the bench now, Tom Moody.
Yeah.
And he's like, this dude's legit. It's expensive, but so we went in and I learned how to do it. I can't say right or wrong way, but very, very professional guide. He manages the bears up there. There's rules. You go in there and you can shoot this these bears, but you can't shoot these because these are too young. He explains it to you. Everything's set up very, very, it makes a whole lot of sense. So I learned from him because I was a kid and I was like asking, being an annoying kid,
right?
Blah 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 blah. But why do you do this? Can I go bait with you? Can I track trail cameras with you?
Right.
All this shit. So I go up there with him, and the rule in camp is if you miss or wound, you're done. Even if it's the first day. If you wound a bear, you're done. That's your hunt. It's over. You can either go home or you can hang out.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, pretty. That's a pretty good statement to make, because a lot of people think the latter. You know what I mean? You're just going up there shooting up animals. It really makes you try to make a good shot, and
right.
and when your guide, same with Clyde, he takes it serious. You don't just think you can do whatever the fuck you want.
But then at the end of the day, he might go, and when hunting's over and that's it, he might say, hey, come over for a beer if you want.
Of course, yeah. And it was like, so up there, I'll tell you this one time, bears usually come in last light, like at the very end.
When you're starting to look at that barrel and it's get a hole cut just right, it just messes with your mind.
Right, and
or a bush next to it or something messes. You think you see a face or some eyes or something like that. It just messes with you.
And when it gets dark, everything looks like a bear because it's black. You're
just looking. Is that him? Is that?
And then I've never once heard one in the woods. They're the quietest animal I think I've ever. Like, you'll hear a leaf, and you look over and you'll be like, holy, it's right. So I was up there, and a bear came in at 3:30, and it was my second bear I had was going to kill, and I was like, if it's 200 pounds, I'm gonna shoot it. I was a young kid, whatever. So my dad was like 2 miles from me on another site, and I thought I had heard him shoot. So I was like, oh, cool. If one comes in, I'm gonna shoot it so we can get the fuck home. We don't have to be up here all week. Bear comes in, I shoot it, dies at the barrel right there, just dropped. And at this point, it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and a lot of people don't know. We used to go in at 1 and sit till 9.
Ooh.
So you're sitting that whole time.
That's
85 degrees plus. It's hot as hell.
Sweating your ass off.
Yeah, and full camo.
Bugs are eating you alive.
Yeah.
You can't move.
Right.
Your back hurts. Your knees are swelling because you can't move and you're sitting in one position. It's the absolute worst.
So the rule is you shoot a bear, you sit on the stand till he comes back to pick you up.
Yeah.
You know me. What did I do?
You run down out of that stand and say, yeah, I got one.
And then I tried walking back to camp.
Right.
And I was 17 miles from camp.
So
I start walking home, and
got some ambition.
There's a wishbone in the road, right, like this. So this is what I said. I had a shotgun.
Yeah.
Shot the bear. Had bird shot. I'll bird hunt my way back to camp. Who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
Well, I had muck boots on, and full camo, and it's 85 degrees, and I'm sweating my ass off. No water, nothing, because you don't want to piss on the stand. Come to the wishbone, and I'm like, I think this way's quicker, but my dad's down this way. So I was like, I'm gonna go the quicker way just in case he didn't shoot. And so it was getting dark, and I was probably like 2 miles from camp. Dick goes out to go pick us up, and he went around the other way. So I had just missed him, right? And we have no communication. There's no phones, nothing.
They don't work for shit up there. That's
so
the most
they put out a fucking search party for me, because I wasn't back. I wasn't at the site. There's a dead bear there. They didn't know what the hell was going on. And then finally I get back to camp, and there was a guy waiting there, Ron. And he's like, dude, you fucked up. They're all looking for you. We need to get in the truck, and we need to go find them because they're worried about you. So, I got a little reaming from him just because he was scared. But, it's like one of those things probably wasn't a good idea to do. But
I did that one time with Clyde, sitting, waiting. He weren't coming. It was getting late and dark. And I ended up walking back, and luckily I caught him.
Yeah.
And he ended up saying, well, we got a couple flat tires, so we apologize for being behind, and that's what happened. So you never know what's going to happen up there.
No.
So it's very, very, it can be dangerous. I've got turned around before a couple of times.
It's not hard. In the woods, everything looks the same, and you
then
don't hear any roads.
Then you judge yourself. Is it this way? Is it that way? Is it this, right? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought I saw this log, but this log looks just the same.
Yeah. And then you can get into some dark water real quick up there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's very important in our house. I know it's to you, hunting, and the people you go with. You know, you don't go with anybody, just anybody.
I took a good friend of mine out this year, turkey hunting. He'd never been. He was
Right.
like, I don't know about this, man. He didn't sound very confident. Go out the first day, set up. Heard a couple gobbles. He got a little excited. I could see him getting excited. Nothing came in. They were behind us, but they spooked or something. Second day we went out. It was like a week later because his job, it's very difficult for him to get out. So we went the next week, and we ended up hearing some and saw some jakes. He said, well, I'd like to get some a little bigger. I said, okay, we'll see what we can do. We ended up going across the road and see some, and they spooked off. Third week we went out, we ended up connected, and he was pretty happy about that, so it was pretty cool. So it's like, it's nice to get the people that, and he has a good amount of acreage too.
Right.
So it's nice to see someone new that's never gone, whether it's bear hunting, deer hunting, or moose, or
Right.
birds, or whatever. You never know what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But it's always exciting to bring someone in. That kind of fueled some fire for me this year, because I just didn't really have much excitement. I've just been busy working, doing this and that and other things. So
Right.
I only went out a couple times myself. So it was just
And when you're not around people that don't hunt, it's like you don't hear about it, you don't get the itch.
just
you know?
like fishing. I don't hang out with many people that fish a whole lot, like they every day, so I don't get that itch
Right.
like some do.
Right, you see a big one posted or something, you're like, oh, you know, or just anything, you know.
Like Sam and Joe, they go out striper fishing and they just get right into it. And it's like, I bought a $160 pole a month ago, and I need to buy another $350 reel. Well, the pole's still sitting in the corner in my garage collecting dust. Like,
Right.
I just don't. I got other things I'd rather do.
Right.
You know, I value my time of hanging out and just chilling rather than getting up at 3 a.m. and chasing fish.
Yeah, you get very irritated when you think you're wasting your time.
Right.
You're one of those people that's just like, what are we doing? We're not doing something exciting, then fuck,
Right.
I'm out.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So now you're delivering Chinese food
Yeah, I'm now been
and loving it.
and I actually enjoy it. I mean, I do pretty well, make all right money. Well, everybody else they were scared and in their houses, and I disobeyed my mother. She wanted me to stay home, and she said, I'll pay you to stay home. I don't want you to get out and get that stuff. I said, I gotta wear it. You know, you can't buy me for that. I need to make some money. So
did you just show up and say, hey?
I basically, my neighbor said, go try, go see what happens. I went up. Yeah, when can you start? I said, tonight if you want. I started, boom, then the stimulus checks come out, and I've just been busy for weeks and weeks. It started to slow down now, but I was busy. I was working at least 8-hour days, if not some 10-hour days before I'd get out of there. It'd be 10:30 at night on my last delivery, maybe even a little later, and it was a lot, and I wouldn't take any days off. I took maybe one every once in a while. I mean, there was one point I took 2 weeks and I'd take a day off. Then I did 3 weeks and took a day off, and so.
Word through the grapevine is you were getting requested. People
Yeah.
were calling requesting you.
Oh yeah, I had some friends that's why I like to help the people out that help me out, because they threw that in return, and they would request to have me deliver and stuff like that, so they would also help me out back. So that's why I noticed in life now, the one when you were down, make sure you also take care of them. It's
Right.
not necessarily financially, it could be a ride, it could be this, it could be anything you need to do, but it's gonna make you successful in life to take care of those that took care of you, no matter what it might be.
Right.
But just to give in any way possible.
Right. Yeah. You.
When you start burning their bridge and shitting on them and not helping them when they need something simple, then it's not good karma, and it's not going to help you out any way in life.
Yeah.
You're just going to get brought back down. So when you're building your empire,
Right.
so to speak, make sure you also take care of the ones that helped you out.
Right.
And it doesn't mean it. I mean, sometimes business doesn't work the way you want it to, but that's not even the aspect of it. Just tell, hey, you need a ride home tonight. You've been drinking or something like this, potentially, or whatever it may be. Anything.
Right.
Just make sure you help them out too when they were helping you.
Some people can give more. Some people can give less. But it's like
Just do anything you can. Simple.
a little sacrifice goes a long way with a lot of people, you know.
Exactly.
And it could be the stupidest gesture that's like, fuck. That guy's like, wow. You know, sometimes certain things just hit you right, and you're just like, you know, that person didn't have to do that. You know,
Maybe it's the lady at the gas station. You don't give her any money tip, but you might buy her $2 or $5 scratch ticket.
yeah.
You know, for example, anything.
Right.
You see she's working hard at doing this and that.
Or sometimes you just got to tell her, hey, you're doing a fucking awesome job.
Exactly.
You know, like at your job, you might think, hey, people don't really give a shit. But that
And
one
then
guy that's like,
at the end of the day, the manager says, thanks for coming. We appreciate you being here
right.
and helping us out. It's and I'm subcontracted there, so it's a little different
Really?
because we have to actually pay to rent the place out to be in the bathroom to where we are. So but even the manager that manages the actual place appreciates us there, so it's nice.
So you're self-employed.
I work under somebody.
Oh, so that person that manages the bathroom self-employed?
Yes.
And you're his employee?
I'm basically kind of like his employee.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Must be a liability thing.
We still have to do certain things because we do sign contracts through the club that we're there, that we can do this and we can't do that and certain things. So
That's so crazy.
yeah, it's wild.
You'd never know.
No, and another thing that's nice though is like if you've been in Portland long enough,
Yeah.
you could like I went up to the bar and bought a couple girls next to me. I didn't know them, didn't care.
Yeah.
Bought them a couple of drinks.
Right.
I talked to the bartender. Yeah, this is the place to be. All the girls and all this, and everybody likes to come here. It's one of the hot spots. I said, where else is good? He said, oh, down the road, here's another spot. And then they really, the locals help you out on picking some good places that they recommend to eat and this and that. So it's like it's a big community, and they pick up on that. Like I took care of the bartender.
Right.
I took care of him, made sure he had a nice tip, and he was like, yeah, I'll be in sometime. Say
Right.
hi, this and that. And that's very big, especially when you're in the restroom at the only strip club in Portland, Maine.
Right.
Is you need to be a little more focused on taking care of people when you show up to somewhere like that. That's a popular spot because they're gonna know who you are when they go into that place. It's not like just a random grocery store or something else.
Right.
They'll never see you again.
Right.
That's a major thing. So, and a lot of the customers, they'll bring in pizza or they'll bring in this, or they'll
What?
bring some.
To the bathroom?
No, they'll
Oh.
bring it into the strip club, but they'll all share and this and that. So it's kind of like a community to us.
Sounds like a wild place.
It's pretty. It can be pretty wild, man. I've
Yeah.
seen people go to the ATM, pull $1,000 out, get them in $2 bills, and just throw it across stage.
Really?
Like nothing.
You
yeah.
can take 1,000 out of that ATM?
Or whatever it is.
That's dangerous.
700. Yeah, it's a dangerous place.
Because I bet there's a nice fee on that ATM.
I think.
But it's
like,
$20.
No, it's like $3.50 4.
Really?
Something like that.
They just want you to take out more.
They just want you to take out more. Right?
Oh my.
It's crazy. Yeah.
The whole thing's crazy.
The bartenders do good. The drinks are good. I don't really drink down there. I usually get just a Red Bull or something.
Well, you gotta drive home at 3 a.m.
Right. I've been offered drinks. I've been, this and that, and it's like, no, I can't. It's not professional. I take it very, very serious and professional down there.
That's good, because I bet a lot of people don't.
They appreciate when I show up with a 3-piece suit on. It's hot some days, but they appreciate it.
Got AC in the bathroom? A little bit?
I haven't done the summers yet, so
Oh, that would be interesting.
that'd probably be interesting, especially when there's, 6 people in there.
Shitting.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for that.
Or needing to shit.
Yeah.
Any emergencies in there?
No.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No. When they have coffee brandy on special.
Oh. It's definitely an interesting place
Yeah.
and fun, and I do gotta admit and say one thing though, the The topless hugs they're terrible. They're a rough time.
It's
It
got
sucks.
yeah, it's got to be.
I live a terrible life working down there. It's awful. I hate it. It's so miserable.
Yeah,
Somebody come save me.
yeah. Somebody needs to apply for your job and take it. So that's that.
Thankfully, I'm pretty locked in with that.
Oh yeah. Would you do something like a 10-year deal?
I don't know what kind of 1-year contract, but I work under a guy and he's the boss pretty much of it, so it's like he can determine what this and that is. But he's pretty excited to have me back, and I can't wait to see the rest of the people. And
Yeah, you're gonna keep this job forever.
I want to. I love it, man.
There's no retiring there.
No.
I mean, you can do that forever. I could see you in a wheelchair someday when you're 60 years old.
Oh, jeez. Hey, come on. I'm not going to be no Joe Biden now.
Oh my god. Yeah. So is it Canton?
Yeah, Canton Express in Augusta.
So call Canton Express anytime after 4.
Anytime after 4,
Ask for
typically.
Andrew James.
I usually have a Monday or a Tuesday off, but if I'm there, request Andy.
Request Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you'll stay busy enough with that. With
We
the stay at
deliver.
home.
Yeah, we deliver all over. We go. I mean, I've done some areas in Pittston. I've done some areas in Fastleboro.
So what, like 10, 15 miles?
Something like that. Sometimes I can typically, usually people treat me pretty good, so I can slip in some a little further than outside the coverage area. I can pull some strings.
Yeah, I bet you will too.
So I can usually make stuff happen. We've gone out to Windsor.
Yeah.
That's quite a ways out there. Some places,
Oh yeah, because Bangor Street, is that where you're at?
Yeah, we're on Bangor Street.
Bangor Street. So yeah, Windsor. It could be. I mean, Manchester's pretty far.
Manchester's pretty far. I mean, especially down on the Pond Road. That's,
That's a trek.
That's a trek.
But whatever, right? I mean,
Whatever.
Get them their food.
Get them their food. 2 things I notice people like: hot and fast.
Hot and fast.
Because nothing's worse than not only slow but cold Chinese food.
Right.
So cold Chinese food is the absolute worst.
Right. And Chinese food is like one of those things, like when you want it right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like
you want it hot. You don't want it cold and this and that, and then have to fight with the people because it sucks. It's like, no.
Well, and it's also like you want to get it before you think about how what you're gonna feel like after eating it.
Exactly. Yeah, sure.
So call Canton for Andrew, and I appreciate you coming on and talking. It was a good time.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Slap.
Sounds good.